It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have a dual team on here. We have Latoya and Catherine. I should say Catherine and Latoya. How are you both doing, by the way?
We're great. We're so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, we're truly glad to be here.
Well, I'm really excited to be here because I do believe, businesses need the topic we're going to be talking about. They're looking below, they'll read the bio and all that cool stuff, and they're seeing brandology. Now, Shay, we're talking about brands. We're talking about something different. Take a moment, if you would, and this is for the entrepreneurs out there, as listeners like me. They may be looking for a new brand. They might be rebranding. They might be starting a brand. They may be, recreating one. Who knows? But, we're always somewhere in that transition when it comes to branding. So here's the question. What does branding mean to you? And what does it look like? Is it just a logo? I'm just curious. I don't know. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Awesome.
Well, branding is such a broad terminology. And I think a lot of time when I first got exposed to branding, I was thinking it was just a logo, and it was the photos. It was so much more the admiration of being in business. But I realized that branding was such a deeper thing than that. Yeah. When we think of brandology, it's really about the study of branding. It's really about your image. It's also your infrastructure and your identity. Those three I's, I call it: your infrastructure, your image, and your identity. Those are all encompassed of branding. So that's when we took a look at it and said, let's break down branding so that it could be very more digestible, because it could be so confusing.
Yes. And so for us, we wanted to really have a focus on brand education. We also do business development, but when you couple the two together, you have the best of both worlds. Because so often, and we might touch on that, we get so excited about the logo, about the brand shoots and all the images and all the pictures, that we really neglect the foundational tools that's really needed to help you have brand legacy and to continue your brand living on way past you. So that's why branding is so essential. It's so important. A lot of times we get started with the marketing, right? We jump into marketing, right? But we skip branding, or we call marketing branding, and they're two different worlds. Now they can collide a little bit, but I think what's happened is we've merged the two together, and so we have to learn how to separate the two so they can both operate and work for our businesses.
And when you talk about the three I's, that's spot on. You mentioned infrastructure, identity, and what was the second one?
And image.
Image. So why don't we break it down for the folks that are watching right now? They're leaning in a little bit, and they're like, okay, Shay, three I's. How does infrastructure relate to branding? Can she break that down? And then as she does that, identity, can she give me a little more on that? And then the last one, which is infrastructure, identity, and image. Yeah.
So I will start off with your infrastructure. So your infrastructure is really about your brand, really about your business development. Mm-hmm. You will, when you're doing infrastructure, one of my main my role in Branding Lab consultant, I am the business consultant. And so one of my role is to help people understanding their business model. Mm-hmm. Your business model is very important because it's going to determine all the other infrastructures and how you are going to package yourself, how you're going to sell yourself. It's all connected to all that in the future part of your marketing piece. So branding is also connected to marketing. So your infrastructure is about your operational strategy. What are some things that you're going to do, such as your customer journey? There's so many things, and your avatar, your understanding your audience. That's definitely with your identity. Yeah. So now we're connected in our identity. So they're all are interconnected. So when we're thinking of identity, we're thinking about just our identity. Who are you? What makes you different? What's going to set you apart? And so when we look at the image, now we can talk about your brand colors.
Right.
Now we can start going into the look, right?
The
I call it,
aesthetics.
yeah, the aesthetics. I call it about the five senses. Can people touch? Can they feel? And so we have to think about those things. And that's why we spend a lot of time on educating people about business infrastructure and also about your brand identity. You cannot just get up and say, I'm going to go start my business
Right.
and I'm going to be out there. You haven't spent time with your brand development. So we have a brand before marketing approach.
Yeah.
And so we educate individuals with the BRANDology training that we've done, and time again with one-on-one clients, to make sure they're sitting still to spend some time understanding what are they going to be doing in business and what's going to set them apart.
I love it. Well said. Well said. That's spot on. So for the person that's out there, there's two types of entrepreneurs that typically tune in. There's one that's a dualpreneurs. They work. They're what I call 9 to 5 millionaires. Right? They work a full-time job and they're a full-time entrepreneur. And they might be wondering, okay, if I had to start at one step and take a baby step, what would it be? So I want to talk to that group, if you would. And they're listening to you. Sounds good. They like the 3 I's. They like what you're saying. But they're saying, man, it's a loaded question, but where would I start as an entrepreneur if I'm trying to get the brand up and going? I know what I want, but it's not giving me the results I'm looking for. What's one step they could take?
Yeah, the first step is really to understand your vision. Understand your mission. Understand what is the overall purpose. What am I hoping to achieve? What am I passionate about? What is something that might keep you up at night? A lot of times we're so focused on our passion, and our passion can be connected to our purpose, but you really got to spend time to to say, what can I do? If money didn't matter, I could spend days upon days just focused on this one thing. And then I understand what you're saying. We're multifaceted. So we call ourselves, we're serial entrepreneurs because we have quite a few different businesses and brands on our own. But I would say in this season, which connect and to encourage that entrepreneur, because most people who have an entrepreneurial mindset have some creative gifting, some creative ability. Even if they don't think, even if they feel like it's more technology based, you have to be creative to have a business. You really do. It may look different based on the industry that you're in. So I would say it's important to just sit down, write it all out. Don't think about anything. Don't think about money. Don't think about time constraints or restraints. Just write it all out. And that's a great place to start. And then from there, you can begin to pick that vision apart. Okay, here's the mission. Here's our core values. Here is our services. Here's who we're going to serve. And then build from there.
I like that. Might be wondering, at least I am, who are we talking to? So maybe Catherine can tell us a little about who you are, and everybody the audience wants to know. This sounds great, Shay. This is good so far, but who are they again? I know. Some of you reading the bio. Some of you might be cooking. Some of you might be driving down the road. Some of you might be grocery shopping, and we're in your ear right now, by the way. So we'll let Catherine say a little bit about her background and who she is, and then Latoya, if you can do the same. Then Oz has a little bit of background. And here's really the question: not so much who are you, although that's important. What was that pivotal moment, that incident that happened that you knew that helping entrepreneurs and going down the branding track was for you? So it's a 2-part question. Number one, who are you? I think that's fair. And then secondly, what was that moment you said, you know what? I'm all in and helping other entrepreneurs understand brandology.
Awesome. Well, we met at UCF. Actually, we're UCF graduates, University of Central Florida. Go Knights! We're Knight girls, so shout out. But yeah, started at UCF in about '05. And actually, I started my first business while being in college. And I noticed that I just knew I had this desire to use my creativity to create a livelihood for myself. And so I took the path untraveled, if that's what they say. And I started my first business just writing poetry for various events and different individuals and customization with my writing, and eventually got into bios and all of that. But it started there. And so I've been on this journey. I started a nonprofit at some point in my entrepreneur journey. And then eventually, some years after college, we met in college, but we actually reconnected, and we'll get in that story of how we came to this point. But my background, I am the communications consultant, strategic communications consultant with Branding Lab Consulting. So my specialty is business writing and brand messaging. So that's what I focus on within this venture together.
Yes. And so one of what I do, I am the business consultant at Branding Lab Consulting. And so one of my role is really spending a lot of time of your packaging. What are you offering? I help people design membership. I also help with their operational strategy. It's really about program development. We have great clients.
Yes.
One of our clients, we're so proud of them, of the journey that they have made. We have helped lawyers. We have helped nonprofit build out their nonprofit, have gotten contract in their industry. And so we realized that we needed to kind of connect together so that we can make sure that our clients are not just doing business, but they are equipped, they are encouraged, and they are ready to expand as well. So we primary right now, we have worked with more startups.
Yeah.
Because that's where it came. You're talking about what turned it. It turned for us when we realized that we were lacking resources. We didn't have the funds to get started. We didn't have the knowledge. YouTube is good, but you need an expert.
Right.
So we definitely knew that there needed to be a community. So we're big on community. We do things like work lounge, where we're putting an entrepreneur in a working setting where they're really working on their craft. Because I realize that when you're working as an entrepreneur, and the reason why a lot of entrepreneurs are not happy and in silo is because they don't understand the power of community.
Yeah.
And so, not networking, because networking is that I'm passing out, I'm getting your number, your business, but what so good of networking when you don't even know what to do with that business card in your hand because you haven't been spending time with your craft. And so we take them in a setting where they are mending and they're molding themselves to become the effective entrepreneurs that they were called to be by God, I believe. And so that's where we are at right now, and the pivotal moment shifted when we realized that we needed to rev up, because when you rev up, you'll speed up.
Right. We needed to come together because we were struggling by ourselves, like I've been doing entrepreneurship for a very long time, and I've pushed my way through, but sometimes you need that encouragement. So we looked at each other, and I was talking to my sis, Latoya, and she was like, I see like this bull, I see this bull just like moving their feet. And she was like, what is that? I said, that means rev up. That means rev. And we looked at each other. We said, we have to rev up. So we knew that when we rev up, we were gonna speed up, right? Velocity. And so we figured out, hey, if we can bring this concept of collaboration over competition, we can help other entrepreneurs and show them that, look, it doesn't just have to be all about you. You don't have to be on a lone island, and you don't have to be lonely at the top. You can trust others with your brand, right? And coming into a safe space where you can have uninterrupted time. Sometimes you just need to be on your laptop and just know that, hey, I got a brother, I got a sister right next to me, and they're getting it done. We're getting it done. We might not be having a conversation, but just the camaraderie of being in the same space at the same time, it's just that energy, that love that's going around, it just does something and encourages you along that entrepreneur journey.
Love it. It's been said, and you said it a couple of times, at the end of the day, I'll reframe it, but success is a team sport, right? You really can only get so far by yourself. And I love the idea of community and team and network. My question is, when you're looking to collaborate with others, I guess that's what this is part of doing as well. What's 1, 2, or 3 things that you look for in a collaboration partnership? Because sometimes, and I've been on both sides, where I just gave way more. It seemed like the other person was doing a doggone thing. And then other times they probably giving way more. They feel like I wasn't doing a doggone thing. So if it's person, they're sitting there and they're thinking, when it comes to partnerships and building relationships and collaborations, what's some of your best practices that you share with your clients or that you do yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take this one?
Sure.
All right. So I get started. So one of the things that made us came to a point was that we were sitting on the bleachers, and we were looking at this guy, and he was in rehearsal practicing for a game because it looked like he played football. And I mean, he's on this field and he's moving and doing his strategy. No one was looking. And we came to a point to realize, which is why we wrote our book called Entrepreneur, a 10-day guide to business and success on Amazon right now. And so that came to us to realize that we couldn't do business without healing. And so when you said, what do I look for in a partner, is that it's someone who's progressively going towards healing, because that will affect their business. And I often say that we don't need just an IQ to start a business. We need an EQ. We're talking about your emotional intelligence. And so with that, we find that there's some individuals that are a little bit reluctant with like going forward in their business with someone because they have trust issues. And so those are all interconnected. And also, one of the things is about being authentic to yourself. Because if you're working with a business partner and you are seriously dealing with some things from childhood and it's coming up, and then you find like, man, we're doing great, but a little bit of me, a little bit jealous of my sister or my brother because I see them thriving or they get the mic. And so you're fighting between each other when you got into business together. And you have to also be spirit led in order to know that that person is a business partner. There's some person that's a business affiliate, and there's some people are partner. And we call those individuals who are covenant with your purpose. And so what those are the things that we are truly looking for. And I'm sure Catherine probably can add some other things and some other element that will help someone who probably thinking about partnering with someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to look at their character. You know, you don't just meet someone overnight and just like, hey, you know, or the fact that they're just this multi-millionaire. That doesn't mean they have the great character. Because you can build all these millions together, but if you're not in partnership with someone that has similar values, right? It's important to look at their values. Do your values line up? All right. Look at how their work ethic. You know, do like how you said, one season, hey, you're doing it all, and then the other you realize maybe another person, well, they doing it all. So really, just look at their work ethic, see their consistency, and then two, make sure it's an individual you're able to just have some hard conversations with. So if you don't feel comfortable having the tough conversations with that person, then maybe that's not the best person to go in partnership with at this time until you're able to mature that relationship a little bit more.
And you mentioned IQ versus EQ. You said emotional intelligence, and I want to know if you elaborate on that a little bit or tell us a little more about that. But some folks that went way over their head, right?
Yes.
And others,
So,
they were right there. They were right there. So you know, what is it, and why is it so important in a collaboration, and you know how it ties into the brand as well? The EQ versus the IQ. I think that's what I heard.
So so IQ, intelligence, right? Your intelligence. Many of us have went, and the thing with entrepreneurship and why we believe in educating entrepreneurs, because not a lot of people are going to school for an MBA. An entrepreneur can start tomorrow and say, you know what, I got an idea and I'm going to register my business, but now what? So they can take their skills and use something called transferable skills, because they more likely possess something that they have done in a field for a couple of years, and they can now couple it and create a service out of it. And so because of their intelligence, they're able to do a few things, right? And the intelligence that they have. Now, when it comes to their emotional intelligence, that has everything to do with your well-being. That has everything to do with your emotions of what it really is, your emotional health. There is things that affect our life even today. There's many entrepreneurs that have started their business and slowed down because they've been through a divorce. They've been through, and with that divorce, that might have caused them to start having some distress. And so you have to make sure that you are dealing with your inner and going through the process of counseling, and anything that it takes for you to make sure that you are getting to a place where you have to know that you need to learn how to separate yourself from your business. And so with separating yourself from your business, you know that as an entrepreneur that you should now really develop yourself in a way that you know that you matter, because there's so many of us are climbing the ladder of success, but we are broken. And because we're trying to build capital, we are not looking at what really matters, what's going on the inside. So I said to these entrepreneurs when I talk to them is that make sure that you're assessing your life. while you're building at the same time.
Many people are building and they're bleeding. So it's hard, but there's so many entrepreneurs. They're building and bleeding. That's why we are huge advocates. We like to say you got to be healed for business. Okay, you have to be healed for business because and I can't say like, oh, I'm perfect. I've had to deal with this, whether you're communicating with a potential client and then, you had your little consultation, everything went great and you thought they were going to move forward and then they may have ghosted you, and it's like, what was it me? Then you try to point it back at yourself. But it's like, no, you got to check that because sometimes whether it's rejection, disappointment, like all of that can interrupt your motion and your movement within your business. So you always have to, like Latoya said, do that self-assessment. How am I progressing in my mental, emotional, spiritual, like the physical? Because all of that directly affects the progression of your business as an entrepreneur.
Thanks a lot for sharing. That's spot on. We have a segment here called "Today is my January 1st," and it leads to a question. At least one of you can answer. And today is my January 1st is one of our personal mantras here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. For those that know what I'm about to do, at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every night, you get to say these exact same words. I love to say them, by the way. And that is, today is my January 1st. Isn't that kind of cool? Like today is really your January 1st. For those folks that are tuning in for the very, very first time, we want to welcome you to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Today is my January 1st. To us, it represents a do-over. It represents a fresh start. It means the past, no matter what the past has been, no longer equals future. And so my question is just sitting on the other side. When you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what was a setback or challenge maybe either one of you had? And then what did you do to kind of overcome that challenge?
I believe there was a point in our business where we realized that we had more bills stacking up than resources and funds coming in. So at some point, everything was gone. And we literally had to start over. We had to rebrand. We had to let some businesses go. We had to let some old names go. We really did, and was just willing to say, you know what? We believe that this is a vision that's been placed on our heart. So we're going to keep going and we're going to start again. So then that's when we rebranded ourselves. We just chose not to give up. And so oftentimes you may feel that you've been given something, and then if you lose the name or like that doesn't determine you being successful as an entrepreneur, because there's always January 1st. Like you said, you can always start over. You can always start again. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. One of my favorite questions I like to ask is, what's one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever been given, right? And the way we normally frame it is, of all the mentors you've had on this journey of life, and you've had so many mentors. I mean, I always say it's unfair, but you have had a lot of mentors. What's one idea that you learned from any of the mentors that you're holding near and dear in your heart, and you're going to share it with us, the audience? And you at home, you get to lean in now, right? Because you can take this one idea and you can use it for the rest of your life. And how cool is that? You show up, you get one idea, and you walk away. You may never meet their mentors. You may never come across their path, but you get an idea that you can use. So please share one idea you learned or the best pieces of advice you've ever been given.
There was one that, and honestly, when this individual shared it with me, afterwards I heard it again. So I was like, okay, but it's do it afraid. Oftentimes it's scary walking out here, being out here in this entrepreneur streets. Okay, it can be scary because you have to take a risk. But either way, you have to be willing to do it afraid, because I'm more of a creative. Well, actually, we're both creative, but my other business outside of is creative. So writing, speaking, spoken word. It's very, it can be very nerve wracking. So when I first started out, I had to do it afraid. I had some hiccups. I forgot my words on stage. I forgot a poem on stage, and I started over like 2 times and still forgot it. And I had to walk off the stage in shame. But it was a lesson learned. So sometimes you just gotta do things afraid and just build that confident muscle up along the way.
I think for me, and it's nothing even to do with business, is that I am what you consider to be a sidepreneur because I'm currently still working, and when I think about it, it can be done. And for me, it's just really creating a business model that is smart where I'm not burning out.
Yeah.
But I remember getting an evaluation at my job, and my previous job was just very tough, very rough with the supervisor that I had, and it really messed my self-esteem up. And so the new supervisor that I had was very different approach, different things. And she gave me a rating, and I was like, oh Lord, I got to do better. And I started beating my little self up, and I'm like, man. And she said something. She said, this is preparing you for something bigger. And so I say that to the entrepreneurs who's listening. Nobody might not know your name. Nobody might not be booking you, but your real work is behind the scenes. And the real way that you grow your muscle is when you are being able to learn that constructive criticism is not just a state that someone is saying. It's designed, especially from the right person, of course.
Yeah.
It's designed to make sure that you're assessing where you are, to make sure that you're giving it all and the best, because you are going somewhere.
Wow. First, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It's kind of cool, by the way. You both are here. You're both together. You're both on one accord. And you're making a huge difference in the world. And without the brand, well, it's hard for folks to even know what you do and why you do it. So very, very important. Here's the question, the final question. What type of clients are you looking to work with these days? Number one. And number two, how can folks best connect with you over and beyond this conversation so they can stay where you are and continue to learn and grow working with you?
Yes, I would say a good place to start is to follow us on Instagram at Branding Lab Consulting. All right. And then also our website.
Our website is brandonlabconsultant.com.
Yay. And what type of clients are you looking for?
Right.
If any, I mean, maybe you're not looking for any clients. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe you're already booked. But if you are looking for clients, folks want to know what type of clients are you looking for? They're looking for you.
Yes, absolutely. So the type of clients, ideal clients for us, is anyone who's either one, we got two ends of the spectrum. We got an individual who may have this idea, right? This spark of, man, wouldn't it be cool if I do this, but they don't know where to go. Like, we literally can help you from ground zero all the way up, right? Like, to where I don't know how to register my business. We can really help you with those foundational items all the way up to website. We have strategic partners and partnerships where we can help you with that entire business development and branding process. So those individuals or individuals who's looking to restart. And it's like, hey, you know what? I like kind of what I have, but I want a fresh look. I want to change up my services. I want to add a new service. So we're the individuals for you. We're the women for the job.
Yes, and definitely any strategic planning that you're thinking or operational strategies. We also specialize in membership design and program development.
Yeah.
And a big thing with our Brandology training, we have the privilege that we've been training with other institutes. And so if you're a college and you have not introduced your students, or your high school and want to talk about Brandology training, we are open for booking. Yeah. Also, our Healed for Business segment is open. Yeah. If you're having a conference and you want to have that conversations with an audience about that topic, we're here.
Well, let me say thank you so much again for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We really enjoyed ourselves. This is awesome.
Thank you. Shout out to Anessa and folks that connected us all together. And shout out to you. Thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Without you, well, there is no show. Okay? There's no show. So I never get tired of reminding myself and you of this every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that you're amazing, that you really are incredible. that you are a game changer. You're someone that's making a huge difference. And that no matter what, that today is your January 1st. And because of that one reason alone, I believe for you, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, well, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless and we out. Peace, ladies. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.